In this lesson, let's talk about Azure Backups and the key benefits that Azure Backups provide. Azure Backup is an Azure-based service you can use to backup and restore your data in the Microsoft Cloud. Azure Backup replaces your existing on-premises or off-site backup solution with a cloud-based solution that is reliable, secure, and cost competitive. Azure Backup offers multiple components that you download and deploy on the appropriate systems or in the cloud. The component or agent that you deploy depends on what you want to protect. All Azure Backup components can be used to backup data to a recovery services vault in Azure. So no matter whether you're protecting data on your premise or in the cloud, you got to have some kind of an agent, and that will then push that backup data to recovery services vault in Azure. Let's talk about the key benefits of using Azure Backup. Azure Backup offers a simple solution for backing up your on-premise resources to the cloud. You can get short-term and long-term backups without the need to deploy complex on-premise backup solutions. Azure Backup provides independent and isolated backups to guard against accidental destruction of original data. Backups are stored in Recovery Services Vault with built-in management of recovery points. Configuration and scalability is simple. Backups are optimized and you can easily store as needed. Azure Backups does not limit the amount of inbound or outbound data you transfer or even charge for the data that is transferred. Outbound data refers to the data transferred from Recovery Services Vault during the restore operation. If you perform an offline initial backup using a service called as Azure Import Export Service, that is done to import large amounts of data, then there is a cost associated with the inbound data. You will keep your data secure because data encryption allows for securing the transmission and storage of your data in the public cloud. You store the encryption passphrase locally and it is never transmitted or stored in Azure. If it is necessary to restore any of the data, only you have the encryption passphrase or the key. You'll always get app consistent backups. An application consistent backup means a recovery point has all the required data to restore the backup copy. Azure Backup provides application consistent backups, which ensure additional fixes are not required to restore the data. Restoring app consistent data reduces the restoration time. This will allow you to quickly return to a returning state. Think about how do you retain short and long-term data. You can use Recovery Services Vault for short-term and long-term data retention. Azure does not limit the length of time data that can remain in the Recovery Services Vault. You can keep it as long as you like. Azure Backup has a limit of 9999 recovery points per protected instance. Azure Storage Management. Hybrid environments often require heterogeneous storage, some on-premises and probably something in the cloud. With Azure Backup, there is no cost for using on-premise storage devices. Azure Backup automatically allocates and manages backup storage, and it uses a pay-as-you-use model so that you only pay for the storage you consume. There are multiple storage options with Azure Backup. With Azure Backup, you got two types of replication to keep your storage data highly available. There's local redundant storage and then GRS, which is geo-redundant storage. We know that with LRS, your data will be 3 times copied to the local storage scale unit in that data center. All copies of the data exist within the same region. LRS is the low-cost option for protecting your data from local hardware failures. Whereas GRS is the default and recommended replication option, your GRS replicates your data to a secondary region, which is hundreds of miles away from the primary location of the source data. And for all those good reasons, GRS will cost you more than LRS. But GRS provides a higher level of durability for your data, even if there is a regional outage. So what are some of the reasons your organization might choose Azure Backup? In the next lesson, let's understand the Recovery Service Vault backup options.